Good afternoon. Welcome to Tuesday's Tips. It is wonderful to be here with you. I'm Meg Rentschler, host of the Star Coach Show, coaching instructor and mentor. And I love to hop onto Tuesday's Tips with you to give you something short and applicable right away. So, one of the things that comes up repeatedly in my work with new coaches is this concept of pricing our services and the stories we tell ourselves about pricing services. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to just talk about three things that you might use to change that narrative, to give yourself something different to think about if, in fact, you're in that, who am I to price for my services? Who am I to ask for money to work with me? And all the things that come up can bubble up to undermine our confidence. So, with that, I would just say to you that when we are in a place of second guessing ourselves, there are some things that we can do to counter that. Now, before we dive into that, I want to ask you to take a moment and leave a comment. Let me know how our tips this week are impacting you. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that till the end, but wherever you're listening, follow me, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You will be alerted every time a new tip gets put up, not just on Tuesdays, but we get shorts from our interviews that we do. And really the YouTube channel gets stocked full of really good stuff. And you will know that it's there because you will get alerts if you're subscribed. So take a minute and hit that subscribe button. So, as I mentioned, I think that one of the challenging things for coaches going from corporate America or doing something else to selling our services as a coach can feel really exposing and vulnerable. And the level of feeling the potential for rejection goes way up. And our gremlin really starts to chatter, right? So ironically, I was planning on doing these Tuesday tips because tomorrow's show is all about pricing strategies. It's my each month I do a solo show, and my solo show this month is on different strategies around pricing and how to get our services out there. And then I was thinking about the fact that the different stories that I hear from the coaches that I work with about how difficult it is for them to price their services or put it out there, and the messages that we tell ourselves. And then today I was doing a mentor session with a coach whose coaching client was saying, "Oh my gosh, I get wrapped around so anxious. I feel so vulnerable when I'm pricing my services." So I want to give you three things to potentially tell yourself as a counter narrative. I'm going to give you the gremlin narrative and then some things that we might be able to counter that with. So let's start with, who am I to charge money for my services? I feel like I'm selling myself. Um, I don't know what to charge when I sell myself. And then all this about whether I'm good enough and whether I'm experienced enough and who, just this, we can just get all wrapped around. And very truthfully, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when we're doing that is we're making it about us. We're putting ourselves in the center. And anytime that we put ourselves in the center, whether it's in a coaching session, being all worried about what am I asking a good enough question and what's the perfect question to ask, and making it all about us, what happens is that the whole energy of a session shifts, right? Because if it's about us, we're in the center of a session, and that's not going to have the kind of energy that you want for your clients and for yourself. So Just like when you're in a session and you're all worried about what's the next thing I'm going to ask, and we're making it all about us being a great coach. It's the same thing when we're pricing our services. When you make it all about yourself, you make it about that you're the center of the universe. If you make it about them, that they're buying you, they're not buying you. Yes, they're choosing to work with you versus somebody else. And yes, there's that element of what you offer, and we're going to dive into that. But ultimately, let's shift perspective. Let's get you out of the center of it and make it about your clients. Your clients aren't paying for your time, they're paying for their transformation. So that's my first tip. My first reframe is when you focus on the outcomes that you help your clients achieve, the results, the changes that they're going to experience working with you, whether that's increased revenue, whether that's better, work-life balance, whether that is them being more successful in whatever they're doing, improved leadership skills, improved parenting skills, whatever it is that you do to work with people. When you focus on that, the price is their return on investment on whatever it is that they're getting. And to Heidi's point, thank you for that, Heidi. Talking about money can be so hard. So to Heidi's point, what are you doing to work on your own money mindset? So, so important. And if you guys don't know Heidi Fishbane, she's somebody you're going to want to follow. So thank you for that comment, Heidi. So in that, we want to frame our conversations about money. We want to frame our conversations about investment with our clients into what they're receiving, what the transformation is that they are working toward, not in dollars for hours, which I'll talk about in my show tomorrow. But ultimately, anytime you say, my clients are buying me or I'm selling me, you're putting yourself in the middle of the equation. To Heidi's point, you might very well be caught up in your own money mindset issues about that. And it becomes paralyzing. So think about the results. And that means that you need to do some work around what are the results you're helping your clients get? What is the transformation that you're working toward? That brings me to the second point. Often I hear from the coaches that I work with, I'm brand new at coaching. So who am I to price for my services? And yes, in a way, your level of experience might influence some of your pricing, but ultimately, you didn't just get born yesterday. You didn't get hatched yesterday. All the life experiences that you've had, whether you've been in corporate roles, whether you've been an entrepreneur yourself, any personal challenges you've had, any personal experiences that you've had, your formal education, each of those things have given you unique insights and experiences that contribute to how you show up as a coach. And so those things are also part of the narrative that you have in your brain, rather than focusing on the fact that, oh, I'm a brand new coach. Spend some time writing down your life experiences. What is it that you're bringing to the table? Once again, in this session that I was listening to today with my mentee, her client said, when I spent time really looking at what am I bringing to the table, it shifted my narrative. It shifted my level of confidence about what it is that I'm doing with my clients, what I'm bringing to the table. And it helped her begin to think about the pricing for her services. So shift the narrative away from who am I because I'm maybe in coach training right now. Maybe you're not credentialed yet as a coach. Maybe you're still building your hours. And yet, everything that you've done to build your experience, everything you've brought to the table up to where you are today, leads into how you are partnering with your clients. So shift that conversation away from I'm brand new to I've hopefully you've been trained as a coach in whatever your specialty is. There are so many coach training programs out there. So my hope is that as a coach, you've put your time into training and building those coaching muscles, and then your ongoing experience adds to that. But you didn't just fall off the turnip truck. You are bringing lots of experience and perspective in. Now, we're holding our clients up as the expert in the session, and yet we are hired for what we believe to be true, what we are also bringing to the table. So, first of all, you're not selling yourself, you're selling the transformation. Number two, every life experience that you've had leads to what you offer to your clients. So, a different shift of perspective. The third thing that I want you to consider when you're pricing your services is that underpricing often stems from our own insecurities. And as we put our clients in the center of everything, they can undermine our clients' success. They can undermine what our clients are getting from the experience, because if you're focused on your lack and you price too low, first of all, in my experience, and I've now been in business for myself for over 40 years, have seen again and again that when our services are, and there's a sweet spot for everything. I totally get it. And we're going to talk in tomorrow's new show about the different price points and things like that. But just in general, if I am underpaying for something, I'm not likely to respect it as much or have as much skin in the game and as much investment in my growth. So there is some alignment with pricing services and the perceived value of those services. And when I perceive the value, and really when I have to stretch a little bit to into a service that I'm paying for, I've got more skin in the game. I've got more investment in my growth. I'm going to do the work and I'm going to show up ready to go, and I am going to be a engaged partner with my coach. So the concept of pricing your services towards the transformation, taking into account that you are a whole human being that's bringing experiences throughout your life, and also that you're pricing your services for your belief in them. So that confidence in your belief in what you're offering is reflected in that price, and our clients feel more confident in partnering with you when you can confidently and unapologetically just offer your price. Say, for this package, this is the price, and then zip it. Don't just let your client think, or your prospective client at that point, consume that information. Let them determine, is this something that they want to do? If you are immediately following that up with, trying to justify or explain, or let the client ask if they have questions, if they have objections, and you can meet them where they're at and explore that. Just lay out your price. Don't apologize for your price. Own it and be confident in it. Something that, as I was thinking about this Quick Tuesdays tip, I thought, your clients are hiring you for where you are right now. Often we are ahead of the journey of where our clients are, but that doesn't mean that we're perfect or that we've made it to the pinnacle. It means that we're on the path ahead of them enough to provide that partnership, that guidance, that exploration. But your clients are not hiring you to be perfect. And if you hold back until you're perfect, well, there's people out there who need your services who aren't getting your services if you're waiting to be perfect, because I don't know what Heidi thinks about this, but in my experience, we don't reach perfection. We are continually on a journey. So if you're waiting until you're perfect before you offer your services, or offer your services at a price that you can own proudly and be confident in, then there's people who are not going to get to work with you, who need to work with you because you're holding off and waiting. The other thing that really struck me as I was thinking about this is, when we do work that matters, that really matters, it matters enough to feel uncomfortable with. So step into that discomfort if this work really matters to you. If you are wanting to provide it, then it's worth the discomfort. It's worth stretching into something that's kind of unfamiliar to us. And I can't say enough that there's people waiting for you to offer that, and to offer it at a fair price, that when they think about what that transformation is going to do to their lives, that return on investment is well worth it for them. So, like I said, tomorrow my show is about pricing. It's one of the biggest questions that I get from coaches. It's a difficult, like Heidi said, talking about money can be super hard. I literally have worked with coaches who have said, I just am not offering my services because when I get to that place of saying, this is what it costs to work with me, I can't say it. So I end up giving away all my services, or, not fully stepping into who I can be. And then I get resentful and I get sad because I'm not making a living doing the thing that I'm so passionate about. I believe that we can all make a living doing this thing called coaching. Well, those of us who are passionate about that, it becomes taking the time to get clear about what you offer, what's the transformation you offer, and do you believe you deserve it? Coaches need to create the lives they desire too. Spot on, Heidi. Thank you for that. So, whenever you're listening to this, whether you're listening to me live, whether you are listening to the replay of the Tuesday tips, I encourage you to be thinking about what it is that you offer, and tell your gremlin to go have a seat. You can go sit down. I'm going to change the conversation. I'm going to be thinking about the transformation I offer, the experience that I bring forward, and that when we invest in ourselves and in the transformation, we value it. We put more of our energy into it, and that's what we're offering our clients. So subscribe wherever you're listening. Thanks for taking the time to be here. Leave a comment about how this impacted you. And then be sure to tune into the Star Coach Show. Every Wednesday, we have a brand new episode coming out. Little footnote here. Last week's episode, remember I talked about the fact that we're not perfect? I did a huge blunder last week. Fran Fisher was my guest. She's a fabulous guest. She was my guest in episode 107. She was my guest for episode 425. I uploaded episode 107's interview for episode 425, but I didn't clue into that until this week. So in a way, this week is an extra special week because we've got the new show coming out tomorrow around pricing. And then Fran's real episode 425 is coming out on Friday. So episode 425 will be re-released on Friday with the correct interview. And that's all about the path to coaching mastery. So in a way, this week you're getting a double bubble from the Star Coach Show because I screwed up last week. But you know what? Things like that happen, and we recoup and we redo and we apologize to everybody for making the mistake, and we get the work out into the world. So I hope you're getting your work out into the world. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to the Star Coach Show, and we will continue to create the lives we desire and help our clients create the lives they desire. We'll see you next week for Tuesday Tips and every Wednesday for a new Star Coach Show. You take care. Bye-bye.